All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this. And here we go again with watermelon head Adam Schiff back running his mouth again. It seemed like he want to go after everybody that works for President Trump. So now he wants to go after Tulsi Gabbard. Remember 2 weeks ago, he went after Judge Janine, bringing up Judge Janine, trying to say she's a liar. It's funny, how is a person who's a known liar trying to call Judge Janine a liar? This man lied about everything. He should be in prison. The same man that begged Joe Biden for a pardon, and come to find out Joe Biden didn't sign any of those pardons. So we even got more information on that coming soon as well. So we just found out that Joe Biden had no idea that a lot of these people got pardons because somebody else did it that was working for Joe Biden. So now it seems like Adam Schiff is starting this little show that he got, trying to go out to everybody that works for President Trump. And now here he go attacking Tulsi Gabbard. And like I said, we're going to go ahead and dive straight into it. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. And shout out to everybody who always watches the entire video. I appreciate all of you that does that, because it definitely helps get the video out there. And it helps us expose clowns like Adam Schiff. So please hit that like button so more people can see me expose this clown for the liar he is. And now he want to go on this tour just attacking nothing but women. So like I said, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into it. So as y'all can see on screen, y'all can see this clown right here, Adam Schiff, talking about Tulsi Gabbard has been doing an awful job as Director of National Intelligence. Her poor judgment and crass partisanship makes all of us less unsafe. So he's saying that it make all of us less unsafe. But so what Joe Biden didn't make us less unsafe, leaving the border open so these illegal aliens can come in here. Don't you know that made us less unsafe? It made us less safe. You do know that, don't you? Watermelon head ass Adam Schiff. Leaving that border open, and so all these illegal aliens can come in here and harm American people. But yet you don't have no problem with that at all. That's what I be talking about. So let's go ahead and dive straight into this, y'all. Let's go.
So today I want to continue in a series of profiles of Trump cabinet members. And today we're going to focus on Tulsi Gabbard. What is the background of Tulsi Gabbard? What kind of a job is she doing as a Director of National Intelligence? So Tulsi Gabbard originally served in the Hawaii State Legislature and in the National Guard. She was elected to Congress back in 2012. The interesting thing about her service in Congress is that she never served on the Intelligence Committee. She had no experience in the military with intelligence matters, which makes her uniquely unqualified later to become
so it makes her less unqualified, right? That's what you say, Adam Schiff? But, you know, somebody over there in y'all party named Jasmine Crockshit, I'm pretty sure you know who that is, when she told Charlie to hire her because she's black. She said she had no idea how to do the job, but yet she told Charlie to hire her because she's black.
Say because you've been gracious, is this. When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy.
But now you want to go after Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, she's unqualified for the job. Y'all are just hypocrites. Y'all are clowns.
Director of National Intelligence. Indeed, the only interest she demonstrated on intelligence matters as a House member was her interest in Edward Snowden, who was indicted for leaking classified documents and who has now obtained refuge under Putin in Moscow. She was a very strong supporter of Edward Snowden and believed the charges against him should be dropped. But apart from that, not much of a notable record on intelligence matters. Her most distinguishing feature as a House member, though, was her fondness for dictators, and one in particular, Bashar al-Assad. In 2015, she makes a congressional trip to the Turkish border of Syria. Syria is immersed in a civil war at the time. And her guide tells the story of introducing Tulsi Gabbard to two young children. These children were orphaned when Bashar al-Assad ordered the aerial bombardment of the town in which they lived. The children had been burned, the parents had been killed. She's introduced to the kids. You would think on the natural she would express some sympathy as they told their story, these two young children, of their loss and how Bashar al-Assad had bombed her village. You would think that as a human matter, she would inquire into their well-being. Well, none of that is what took place. Instead, Tulsi Gabbard asked these kids, how do you know it was Assad? How do you know it wasn't ISIS? Well, for one thing, ISIS doesn't have planes, but it demonstrated her willingness to ignore the obvious when it came to her predetermined views of the dictator Bashar al-Assad. In fact, the interlocutor there, the guide there, said that she wasn't ignorant. It was his impression, rather, that she was in a position that was adversarial.
So you sitting up here doing a video about Tulsi Gabbard, but yet y'all the same ones that covered up Joe Biden's mental decline. Y'all the same ones that covered up everything. Y'all already knew that this man had cancer years ago, and you said nothing, you did nothing, you covered it up. But yet you can sit there on that chair with your big watermelon head ass. Sit right there on that chair and talk about a woman. Talking about Tulsi Gabbard. She's unqualified because she did this, because she did that. And yet you a known liar. You remember the little Russian thing you was running with, went on TV lying about it, but yet you sit there in that chair and trying to call somebody else a liar. That is just insane to me.
To the United States. His impression was of someone adversarial to the United States. Now, 2 years later, she would go back to the region. This time she would go to Syria, and she would meet with Bashar al-Assad. In fact, she had 2 meetings in the space of a very short time in the country with Assad, one of them lasting potentially 3 hours long. She came out of those meetings and described how Bashar al-Assad wants to be seen as a person who wouldn't do such things as gas his own people. The problem was he had gassed his own people. He was already at that point understood to be a war criminal, and there is Tulsi Gabbard giving him a propaganda coup by meeting with him repeatedly and extolling his virtues after that meeting.
And guess what? Y'all the same Democrats that just met with an illegal alien who beat his wife twice. Y'all flew all the way to El Salvador for photo ops and sitting there, and y'all were fighting for months about an illegal alien. So how about that, Adam Schiff? You talking about who Tulsi Gabbard went and met with and all of that, but you won't talk about y'all going to flying to El Salvador using taxpayer dollars to go sit with an illegal alien who beat his wife twice. And then y'all even got his wife to sit on camera and lie about it. When we got the audio of her saying he beat me, he did this. He dragged me back in the house and did this.
I came to fill out a protective order. I think it was in December. But I didn't show up to the court because his family washed my brain telling me that his dad was sick and not to do it. So I didn't do anything. But after that, it was I would call the police. I have a lot of police reports. And I kept trying to get to the door basement to try to open the door, and then he pushed me. So then when I was able to go outside to get a phone, I called 911 from a disconnected phone. Now they took a long time to get to the house. It was probably 20-30 minutes. So I saw a neighbor walking his dog, and I opened the door and I was like, help. And then when he heard me, he grabbed me from my hair and then he slapped me. And then the neighbor, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to react. I have pictures of the evidence, all the bruises, because even on Wednesday, he hit me around 3 in the morning. He would just wake up and hit me. And then last Saturday for my daughter's birthday party, before I went to my daughter's birthday party, he slapped me 3 times. And then last week I did call the police. My sister called the police because he hit me in front of my sister.
And y'all flew to El Salvador to go sip margaritas with him. You watermelon head ass Adam Schiff.
Now, it wasn't just her defense of Bashar al-Assad, that bizarre defense of that dictator gassing his own people, that rose people's eyebrows, but also her fondness for the dictator in the Kremlin and her willingness to essentially blame the United States, blame NATO, blame Ukraine for the Russian invasion of Ukraine. She spread the false Kremlin talking point that...
How can you talk about somebody spreading false information about... How can you say that? Look what you ran on TV saying for years, and you got called a liar and you knew you was lying.
In which the Russians offered help, which we know they did. The campaign accepted help, which we know they did. The Russians then delivered help, which we know they did.
There is circumstantial evidence of collusion. The case is more than that, and I can't go into the particulars, but there is more than circumstantial evidence now. So,
you've said on more than one occasion that you've seen ample evidence of the Trump campaign's Russia collusion. Last March, you said you had more than circumstantial evidence of treasonous collusion with Russia.
I've certainly said that there's ample evidence of collusion.
Can you agree that there has been no evidence of collusion, coordination, or conspiracy that has been presented thus far between the Trump campaign and Russia?
No, I don't agree with that at all. I think there's plenty of evidence of collusion or conspiracy.
But we do know this. The Russians offered help. The campaign accepted help. The Russians gave help, and the president made full use of that help. And that is pretty damning.
Reviewing the evidence that I have.
This is the type of stuff that pisses us off, that people like this gets on camera and try to call somebody else liars. Oh, she got on camera and lied. She went and did this. And this man sat there on MSNBC, CNN, all these, telling nothing but lies for years. For years.
The U.S. had placed biolabs in Ukraine, and this is why Russia was necessary. It was necessary for Russia to make war against Ukraine, to deal with the U.S. funded, operated, or whatnot biolabs. The only problem, it was a total fiction, just total Kremlin falsehood. So a couple years after her meeting with Assad, Tulsi Gabbard decides she's going to run for president in 2020. And here's a clip of her during one of the debates, at least as portrayed by Saturday Night Live.
Thank you, Rachel. What an honor it is to be on this stage with my fellow candidates. I want you to know that I smell your fear and it makes me stronger. I'm wearing the white suit of your fallen hero, Hillary Clinton. Now fight me, cowards.
She loses the presidential race, of course. She does very poorly in the presidential race.
And guess what? Kamala Harris did too. But you don't want to talk about that, do you, with your watermelon head ass? You know what? And you're not even saying that. Even Kamala Harris called Joe Biden a racist. But you don't want to talk about that, do you?
As others have who ran for president and dropped out, Tulsi Gabbard decides that it is politically advantageous now to change parties. And she would go on later to endorse Donald Trump. Now, there are a lot of theories about this and the conversion of many other people from one party to another, or from strong opposition to Donald Trump to strong support for Donald Trump. I happen to think the historian Robert Caro has it right when he says generally of the phenomenon of power and the hunger for power, that power doesn't corrupt as much as it reveals. It doesn't always reveal us for our best, but it says a lot about who we are. Well, I think power has revealed a lot about Tulsi Gabbard. It's not that she had no fixed ideology, it's that her ideology is capable of great swings of opinion depending on which side of the grass is greener.
Yeah, you just mad because she left the Democrat Party and joined President Trump. That's the reason why y'all so mad. Now you want to sit here on that chair and just keep talking about this woman, making up lies like you always do. Y'all are mad at anybody that's working for President Trump. That's what it is. So it's like there's nothing President Trump or anybody in his administration can say to make y'all happy, because y'all just fueled with anger. Y'all just mad because y'all ain't in power, and Elon Musk exposed all of y'all. That's the reason why y'all so mad.
So Tulsi Gabbard, as a reward for endorsing Donald Trump, gets nominated to be Director of National Intelligence.
And that's why you're mad.
The reaction was ecstatic in the Kremlin. So Kremlin newspapers are thrilled with her nomination. One of them writes, well, the FBI and CIA are going to be quaking in their boots. See, I'm sure they were quaking in their boots. Another Kremlin spokesman close to Putin said this about Tulsi Gabbard. He described her as our girl. That's right, the Kremlin's girl had been nominated to be the Director of National Intelligence. There were undoubtedly corks popping in the Kremlin. If the reaction in the Kremlin was one of unrestrained jubilation, the reaction in Congress was very different. Of course, the Republicans did what they always do, that is, murmur concerns in public or in private, but eventually fall in line. And the result is that she is narrowly confirmed. And now, how is she doing as the Director of National Intelligence? And the answer is, in two simple words, just terrible. Let's take this signal.
Oh, she's doing just terrible. According to Adam Schiff, a man that's a known freaking liar, been telling lies for years, and walk around with a watermelon for a head, and got the audacity to try to say, oh, Tulsi Gabbard is doing a bad job. She ain't got to make you happy, dummy. Ain't nobody studying Adam Schiff. Ain't nobody waking up every morning saying, let me make sure I make Adam Schiff happy. Let me make sure I do this for Adam Schiff. Nobody cares about Adam Schiff. Tulsi Gabbard don't wake up thinking about no Adam Schiff or how she can make you happy. So you can get on camera and say, oh, she's doing a terrible job. At least she got one.
Gate fiasco, the Signalgate controversy. She was, of course, on that infamous Signal chat discussing classified military strike plans for Houthis in Yemen. Here she is being questioned by Jack Reed, Senator Jack Reed, about what device she was using when she was using this unsecured app, commercial app on her phone.
Seized during any parts of these discussions?
Yes, Senator, I was.
Were you using your private phone or a public phone for the Signal discussions?
I won't speak to this because it's under review by the National Security Council. Once that review is complete, I'm sure we'll share the results with the committee.
What is under review? It's a very simple question. Are you your private phone or an officially issued phone? What could be under review?
National Security Council is reviewing all aspects of how this came to be, how the journalist was inadvertently added to the group chat, and what occurred within that chat across the board.
But so you were not going to disclose anything about whether you use the phone?
That's right. She wouldn't even acknowledge.
See, this is what I don't like. Like, you pick out clips. See, this is what they do. They try to pick out a clip with like, oh, I got it right here. Let's use this clip. But Adam Schiff, we can pull up millions. We could pull up thousands of clips of you being a clown, getting destroyed. And you go pick out a clip and try to say, oh, she couldn't answer a question. She said it was under review. She couldn't answer it. She can't talk about it. Like, this is how dumb Democrats is. If you ask me a question, I say, well, it's under review. I cannot speak on it right now. Oh, well, you got to let us know something. She just literally said she couldn't speak on it. It ain't like she just said she couldn't speak on it, but she did say it was under review. That's the reason she can't speak on it. And this big watermelon head clown want to play a clip to try to make her look bad.
Which phone she was using. Well, here she is being asked by Jason Crow in the House about where she was when she was receiving these messages.
Dr. Gabbard, you were also traveling during this discussion, correct?
Yes.
And where were you?
I was traveling through the Asia-Pacific region. I don't recall which country I was in at that time.
You don't remember the country?
I'd have to go back and look at the schedule.
Yep, she wouldn't acknowledge where she was either.
This
but here's
dude,
the
bro.
thing. As the Director of National Intelligence, she is overseeing all of our intelligence agencies. Her primary responsibility, among others, is to make sure that our national security secrets are kept secret, that they're not discussed willy-nilly on commercial apps. And throughout that whole Signal chat, there isn't a single moment where Tulsi Gabbard states the obvious. Hey, folks, we shouldn't be discussing military strike plans on a commercial app. This is reckless in the extreme.
These people are so stupid. A lot of time they act like everybody is perfect. Everybody make mistakes, you clown. What is wrong with Adam Schiff? What is wrong with you Democrats? That's why y'all won't be in power no more. Y'all act like people can't make a mistake. Y'all didn't make mistakes when y'all just told lies. So you trying to go off on somebody who made a mistake about something and trying to use it to try to make them look bad? Y'all Democrats, y'all can't talk about nobody. Nobody.
She's plainly not doing her job, but probably the most serious malfeasance came with respect to a report of the National Intelligence Council. This is a council within the intelligence community that brings together analysts, produces the most objective product analyzing different issues. And the council produces a product about Tren de Aragua. This is that now infamous Venezuelan gang. And the conclusion of the National Intelligence Council is that the Venezuelan government is not directing the actions of this gang in the United States to the degree its members are in the United States. Now, this is significant because the Trump administration has been claiming as a justification for the due process-free deportations of Venezuelan gang members to that maximum security prison in El Salvador. They've been relying on the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Now, the Alien Enemies Act, in order to use the provisions of that act for this expedited removal, requires that you be at war with another country or be invaded by that country. And the Trump administration has been claiming that the Venezuelan government has invaded the United States by directing the act.
Yeah, President, see, that's what's wrong with y'all. Y'all worry about Donald Trump he is trying to get illegal aliens out of here. Y'all are trying to save them. Now you're so worried about what he's trying to use. Using that right there is for war, but he's trying to use it on illegal aliens. Y'all should be happy that he's trying to get criminals out of here to save the American people. Y'all can't be, well, we care about the American people, and then in the same breath, y'all flying to El Salvador to go sip margaritas with one. You can't have it both ways. Now y'all got a problem. Y'all been had a problem with Donald Trump trying to get illegal aliens out of here, get these criminals off the street, so no more Americans can get killed. But yet y'all sitting up here talking about what he's trying to use to get rid of them.
Activities of this gang. So here's the top National Intelligence Council saying, no, that's not right. That's just not true. And so what happens? Tulsi Gabbard's chief of staff, Joe Kent, urges the council to rewrite its report so that it won't be used against the president or his policies. Okay, this is the last thing you want to see happen in the intelligence community. That is instructions from the Director of National Intelligence or her staff to change the analytic product coming out of the intelligence community to suit the political whims or agenda of the president. Because if that is the message coming from the leadership of the intelligence community, then all the products of that community are going to be biased for the president's agenda, even when it imperils our national security. You're not going to get honest answers from the intelligence community. And indeed, what followed was even worse. Tulsi Gabbard fired the head of the National Intelligence Council and the deputy head of that council, sending a very clear message: you don't write the reports that we want to see, you're going to be fired.
No, that's what y'all be doing. That's exactly what y'all be doing. If somebody don't do what y'all want them to do, y'all get mad. Y'all, see, that's the problem with Democrats. Y'all want people to think the way y'all think. Y'all want President Trump, you want Tulsi Gabbard, you want Judge Janine, you want all these people who support Trump, you want them to think like y'all. If Donald Trump was thinking like the Democrats, he would not be president. Donald Trump would not be president if he thought like y'all. Donald Trump is president because Donald Trump thinks like Donald Trump.
That makes her so patently unsuited for this position.
Oh, unsuited.
And it means
wow.
Danger for the country.
No, it was danger for the country when y'all lied about Joe Biden, when y'all had this man trying to run the country, knowing something was wrong with him the entire time. Joe Biden and these Democrats, which is you too, watermelon head Adam Schiff, y'all put our country in danger. For these 4 years, y'all been lying about Joe Biden. This man can't walk downstairs. Somebody got to hold his hand everywhere he go. Y'all covered up his counsel. Y'all did everything. Y'all put the country in a bad spot with Joe Biden. And how you going to have the audacity to sit up here and talk about, oh, the country in a bad spot. Y'all doing this. I'm telling you, I'm calling out all these lies because I already knew that they was coming. If Adam Schiff lips moving, he lying.
We as policymakers cannot rely on the material that we're getting from the intelligence community if it's being politicized from the very top. Finally, there's this nugget. Tulsi Gabbard, realizing that the president doesn't read, and won't read his daily presidential briefs is looking into potentially bringing on a Fox News producer, getting them their intelligence community.
That's y'all problem. Why y'all worried about who Donald Trump bring in? That's y'all problem. Adam Schiff, no matter who Donald Trump bring in, you gonna have a problem with it. So what you want him to do? Bring in somebody from CNN who been lying on him for years? You do know CNN, ABC, CBS, all they do is talk crap about Donald Trump. Fox News was the only network that supports Donald Trump. So that's the reason why he went over there to go get a Judge Jeanine. He'll rather put people in his administration that supports him. What you want him to do? Go hire David Muir? You'll be okay if he hired David Muir, right? That'll make you happy. So why would he hire his enemies? Why would he hire people who lied on him for years and they're still lying on him till this day? And then you keep worried about who he get from Fox. I bet you if Kamala Harris would have won, Kamala Harris wouldn't hire nobody from Fox News. If Kamala Harris would have won, she would not hire no Judge Jeanine, no Greg Gutfeld, Jesse Water. She wouldn't hire none of them. She'll grab people from CNN, ABC, and you know it. You know it. So now you sitting here worried about who President Trump hire. You idiot.
Clearance and having them produce product that the president will watch, because he can't be made to do his work as president.
Oh, wow.
There's been a lot of talk about the cognitive ability of presidents. It's time we talked about the lack of cognitive ability of this one. If we have a president who won't read.
So how it's time for us to talk about Donald Trump cognitive ability, just like what you said, but you wouldn't talk about Joe Biden's. You covered up Joe Biden's, idiot. So why are you talking about, it's time to talk about Donald Trump? You ain't even got started on Joe Biden yet. You hid it and you knew about it. So like I said, that's it right there. Y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think about all of this. You know we had to cover this because Watermelon Head Adam Schiff lying again like he always do. He's on this tour to try to attack everybody in Donald Trump's administration, and it's not going to get him anywhere. Because at the end of the day, you can attack all these people. They still in the White House. You're not. So like I said, thank you all for watching, especially the ones that made it to the end. Get in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about this and what y'all think about Watermelon Head Adam Schiff. But like I said, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.